Italia, 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 Italia.
Buonanotte, ciao amici! It's a great night here in Italia. Welcome along to El Quattrum. This, of course, is a celebration.
I don't know what any of this means.
This is a celebration of football going home. Of course, back to the founders of football, of modern day football in Italy, as we all know. It used to be a game that was held around Florence between the four warring families. It involved a pig-shaped splatter, and they kicked it from one end of the village to the other end of the village, and that's where modern football was invented. So stick that up your bollocks. It's great to be home.
Have you just changed that, like with a story from England? You've just put Florence. You've just inserted Florence in.
No. It's true. Hey, listen, you worry about your flux capacitor there.
Okay, no problem.
We go back and
forth. Very nice what you have thing there.
It's only a stand-in. Where do you see
it
the
looks melted.
Come here. Is your flux capacitor covered in cleaning film by any chance?
No, it's the catalytic converter of the Toyota Camry.
Yeah, lovely. Good evening. Welcome along to the forum. This, of course, is the Monday night show. It's the fourth show of the season, fourth show of season 21-22. And tonight we're going to be talking about a range of 4 topics on the forum, of course. Joining me tonight, below me, I have is Gav Doyle. Top man, Gav. Great to have you on board. It's lovely to see you. Over on this side here, where my arm is gone. One day I'll be able to get my arm to go through to Shane's gaff. Hello, Shane. Great to see you.
Phil.
You're wearing your Inter Milan.
Yes.
Well done.
Absolutely.
Sweating just to make a point.
And then on this side, I changed my t-shirt, and this is the only time I'm going to be able to put my arm up in the air like this tonight, because by the time I start to sweat, it's going to be in a two-tone t-shirt. On this side, this part of the gaff, of course, is Andy Young. Hello, Andy.
Hello. Once you don't start smelling your fingers. Good evening.
Good evening. Great to have you.
Great.
It's great to have you all. I hope you're all well rested and your brains are all ready for tonight's debate on football, because that is what we talk about on a Monday night. It's great to have all the people in the comment section seeing all the names and everything like that. And thank you, Laura. I just want to flash that up there. Just so you know there, Gav, stick it up your bollocks. Phil is correct. It was called Calcio Fiorentino.
I remember hearing that story, but I think it was based in England somewhere. Like Slough. Florence sounds better.
It was brought by a Florentine merchant to Slough when he moved over. Yeah. It was the 1700s version of The Office. They took they had the Italian office
wearing a hog.
And they brought it over to the UK instead. Cool. Right. Look, first topic up. It is again the football season has returned. We've seen all the lovely pictures. The wonderful pictures of our beloved Liverpool out in Austria currently. Many great things have come from Austria. Can't think of anything at the moment.
Yeah, no, don't. I mean, we cannot mention a place name now without Phil going, oh, remember, yeah. I'm stopping this fucking trend now.
But the guys are out in the mountains in Austria, and we've seen some wondrous pictures today. We've seen Virgil van Dijk, Ibrahima Konate, Joe Gomez, Ben Davis, and all the lads there. It was great to see them all back being fit, and even Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain managed to turn up. And there was meant to be lads there from like Karius and all the other fellas that we'd forgotten about, like Marko Grujic. But Shane, this is your topic. You want to talk about real football being back and having something really to look forward to, given where the squad is at the moment, especially as we start pre-season with the amount of players that we have heading into a full pre-season with Klopp.
Yeah, I think a lot of grounds for optimism, particularly the angle I was kind of coming at was even with the busy summer that was had with the Euros and the Copa America, our players that were even involved in them, I think, are quite rested. I know when the Brazilian Alisson only played 2 games out of the 7 or 8 that they played. Fabinho was the same. He only started 2. He came on in 2 very late. Firmino had a bit more of a workload. I think he kind of spread it with Gabriel Jesus. Obviously, Trent picked up that injury, missed the Euros. Henderson played very little. We're lucky enough, well, not lucky enough, but Van Dijk didn't try and burst his balls to get back to playing the Euros. He just said, look, I need to be thinking bigger picture, longer term. So he's obviously coming back in fresh, and I just think there's a lot of things to be looking forward to as regards coming into pre-season now. And like I said, even the boys that were involved in the tournaments didn't see a lot of game time, which is great for us because we're Irish and we're never in tournaments, and we're just looking at these. We're all looking at them through Liverpool tinted glasses. So it's been great. I think really, like, listen, obviously, like if your players are playing in them tournaments and playing well, it's obviously good as well. But I'm just looking at it coming into the season, coming into this new season. Plenty lads are rested. Mo's abs look fucking even more washboard than he's been wanting around, strutting, showing them off all summer. And great to see them all back. And yeah, loads of ground. An optimistic start for them tonight for me anyway.
Andy, as our resident Super Red, can I just point out that it looks like that Sadio Mane has hit the finasteride over the summer period and his hairline is starting to come back? Were you excited to see that his hairline is starting to drift back towards his forehead?
Yeah, hopefully that means a return of form for Mane. Like Shane says, it's loads to be excited about. No more than their fans being back. I can't wait now. Like, I'm not a big fan of international football, but they were good Euros, especially last night. But now it's back to real football, and it's great to see the pictures of the boys. And Konate looks huge. Him and Van Dijk are going to scare the bejesus out of everyone, and I can't wait.
Gav, do you not think Konate needs to add on a bit of muscle? He's a bit of a lamppost. I think he's just really tall. He looks more like a basketball.
Can't fill him in the bleeding pictures. They have to go about half a mile away, oil him right out just to get him in. The size of the fucker. But I was only thinking earlier, if he can run really fast, nobody's scoring a goal against us next season. Genuinely, because like Van Dijk is going to be just like determined to absolutely own this league again. And this, like, in all seriousness, we're excited today because pre-season started. I just think you just want to get last season out of your head. You don't want it to be the last thing you thought about in football. And I know the Euros have been on, and loads of people know I didn't watch a lot of it. I don't think I watched any coverage of it until probably a quarter final, and I seen bits and pieces, highlights mainly. Didn't even watch the final last night. Watched it was on, and I was kind of going in and out, but I didn't kind of sit down to do it. So I think, we finished third in the league last season, but we know the difficulties we had, and I think we just want to look forward now. We want that to be parked now, and what a boost to see Van Dijk back. Like, people, I was half expecting him to be, you may see him towards the end of pre-season getting a run out here and there as part of his recovery, but for him to be there first day, and Gomez, to be there first day and doing the lactase tests and all that, they're doing everything the other boys are doing by the looks of it, is absolutely massive. You see Konate, huge. He's a monster. He has to be bigger than Van Dijk. I think he's taller than Van Dijk, is he?
Yeah, that has to be. I think so.
He's a monster, the size of him.
Would he be as big as Billy
Not a little Brasdy wear. Like, you can't even see on him. He's that big, like, But no, listen, Shane's right. The Euros were good. They were a distraction. But I think when it comes to Liverpool, the last memories you have of Liverpool is a very, very difficult season last season, despite finishing third. And you just want to, you'll take any bit of content now with regards to, oh, look at the mountains in the backdrop while they're fucking running around cones and everyone's mad about it. And that's simply because you just want to, let's get to this season now. And with Van Dijk, Gomez, as Shane said, the boys coming back, having not played a lot of football, Konate's in, 1 or 2 more will definitely, and
Stephen Dunn says Konate is 1 centimetre taller than Van Dijk.
Yeah, but he just, like, Van Dijk is a monster. This fella just looks huge. Like,
and then you see them standing beside LeBron James, and both of them look like kids. It's mad, isn't it? Like, you don't put basketball players down as being big physical lads, and then you just see them, you're like, what's going on? They look like freaks. They look like absolute...
They're freaks in nature. They're just God-made. They're just freaks.
But remember when Billy Cometio appeared last year in pre-season, and he is an absolute monster as well. It's like
6'5" at 17. Says me.
I know. And people were writing him off come the end of the season because he wasn't playing first team matches. Like, the kid, he is only like 17, 18.
I was 6'5" at 17, and then just went the other way. I'm smoking.
When you started to shred, you
and the protein smokes.
Was it?
On the protein smokes.
And the
way smokes. The way smokes.
They're the best ones. They're the only way. Right, lads. Because pre-season is here. What do you take of Kesa being out now for the next 3 weeks after picking up an injury today?
Don't start. Like,
This is
serious.
Tell the future pod.
No, he did. It was a story that I think James Pearce just tweeted it.
Yeah, don't start.
Don't
find me the tweet.
He did. He's after getting an infection in his ear from where they do the lactate test. You know where they got the they take the thing. He's got
No, he can't be that bad. He can't be that
bad.
I assume Milner won that again. Did he? He just wins it every year, runs them all into the ground. I'd imagine he did. Did he?
Milner ran to Australia. He went for Australia and then back again to Australia.
And then back.
He did. I have to say, Milner last night was great crack waiting for the match. The same with his jug of Ribena. Yeah.
Sudoku or something on the table.
Sudoku, and he had a bowl of Cheerios or something with the spoon and already. For what a legend. What is it? The one thing I was going to ask. Yes. What is your quintessential pre-season image? Mine is, until I see the lads on the bikes, then the season hasn't started. You know when they all look really awkward and you see them with the helmets that they're like kids when they get their first ever bike helmet and they can't get it onto their head properly and it's like sitting on the back of their head and everything. That's my quintessential pre-season image. What's yours, Gav, outside of Kanate looking like a massive lamppost?
I just couldn't believe the size of him. Just blew me away when I seen it. The pre-season images, it's not even related to players. You know when you see the first picture of Anfield and the new pitches being laid, because we seem to relay it nearly every year now, because I don't know what way. I think it's 2 towards grass, 1 towards synthetic or whatever it is now, and they've ripped it up again from last season. And usually when they see it, when I see the pitch and they say Anfield is ready, and I'm kind of going, that's my pre-season. The on the bikes is great crack. But unless they're doing wheelies on them, I'm not interested. Neither of the game on the bikes. Even if you get mag wheels or pegs or something, Kate obviously not allowed on pegs. The bike stuff's good. But I think I always look for Anfield. Give me the first look at Anfield after it's being ripped up and relayed. And Anfield used to have its own unique sort of the way they lined it. You remember? The way they lined Anfield used to be different. The cuts in the grass. I always remember Anfield was different to everywhere else. So it's seeing the pitch for the first time. The image. That's mine.
Andy, you big super red. What's your quintessential pre-season image?
Yeah, I think it's that game before the actual start of the season where you actually see him put a strong 11 together, and up to that point, you might see us leak a few goals, and you're worried about all the shit starts where
Paul Gormley says Naby's bike will have tight risers.
Nabby will be in one of those bikes, for the lads who can't sit up on a bike properly, they have to sit down on the bikes. The ones that you sit back in and you do the pedaling with your feet.
Sidecar, give you a sidecar on the side of the barge.
A trike.
Yeah, so you get the people start to panic a little bit because they're leaking a few goals and they're trying to read into the season, but then he picks the strongest 11 possible coming up to the week of the game, and then you just know it's back.
Shane,
what's your quintessential pre-season?
I would probably say, looking at the first lineup maybe that comes in, and when the first friendly that we play, and generally over the past few years, obviously with the size of the club, we've been going jet setting all over the world. But this kind of pandemic has kind of brought it back to like pre kind of maybe 90s days. So I remember when they used to come over and play Shells, like we're playing a friendly next week against YNWA Innsbruck. That's like the best name of all time. For the team, YNWA Innsbruck. It's like he's from Inchicore.
Yeah.
With a German
Innsbruck.
Yeah, with a German outfit from Inchicore. But we're normally jet setting all over the world. Can't obviously now that I gone to Austria playing a couple of games. It's nearly round back to coming over and playing Shells, and then Leeds will be over next week and United the week after, the way it used to be when we were there. When I was younger, anyway.
YNWA Innsbruck, Giffiena, and Deco Twy.
Yeah.
So I think leading on from that, and I know everyone is having a bit of crack in terms of what we're going to have to put Naby in to avoid him getting injured before the first pre-season game. But Gavin, it sort of takes us into your topic around looking at this squad. We can see the lads that are there. It's like even now, we've got a very strong squad on pre-season, which is unusual because normally those players are off halfway around the world or have been involved in tournaments and haven't had a rest at all. But you want to talk about the balance that we have in the squad, or how are we imbalanced? Are we better in some areas or not? So take it away.
I think the balance for me is it kind of came into my head when I seen the Harvey Elliott stuff. We did chat around him last night, and Avi was saying to me, "No, I think he's going out on another loan," and he may do so. What my opinion would be is to keep him, and even if he has a year at the club and he gets the club 10 appearances, even all off the bench, I think it's more beneficial than a loan right now because it lets him see the level Liverpool are at and what he has to get to. And then if he has to go out and do a loan next season, fine. He's only signed a new long-term deal, so it's not like we're running out of time with Harvey Elliott. And when I seen that, I thought to myself, what way is he balancing this? What way is he going to go? Because, rumour today, Origi has been subject to a bid. You have got Jota, you have Alisson, you have Jota, you have Firmino, you have Mane, you have Salah, and you're probably looking at one more coming in. What way does he go then? Does he do Harvey Elliott? Is that the balance up front he's looking for? I think that might be enough, but people would argue, well, is there enough there? Is there enough balance there in the type of players we have? I suppose midfield, it's stocked, but I'm still worried over the reliability of a lot of them. And I even go far as Henderson on that. Henderson, Fabinho, Thiago, I'm okay with. That was a bad injury he got. That was.
And he still played a lot of games.
He did play a lot of games, and he came back fairly. The problem with Thiago was, you remember he had the bruising of the shin, and it was like they're not telling us anything, and it just seemed to go on and on and on. But it didn't really. He was going to be out for a long time.
He finished the season really strong.
He did, and
he was really, really good.
And
he's had a good rest.
Yeah, his fitness looked good. He hasn't done much with Spain, and he's starting to get used to the players around him. So midfield, you're looking at Fabinho, Thiago, Henderson. You've got Curtis Jones, James Milner. You've got Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. You've got Keita. Obviously, when Alden has left, and people think they're going to bring something in there. So even though there's and Naby Keita, of course, but even though there's a lot of players there, I think there's a problem with reliability, and some of it is just genuine reliability, and some of it is just players are starting to pick up injuries, as they get that bit older, like Henderson, and Fabinho has been known to do it. So I'm wondering what they're going to do there. I think it's quite well balanced in midfield. I think one more in midfield, I think it's fine. And then defensively, you've seen Kanate, you have Van Dijk, you have Gomez. It looks like Matip is going to stay. Nat Phillips is still in the training photos there. I seen Ben Davies in the photos today as well. Then you have Kostas Tsimikas, who has had a. Let's be honest, he wasn't around much last season, and he had a horrible start. He got injured and he got COVID, and all sorts happened to him moving to Liverpool. But I'd love to see him, get a good goal.
Forward actually seeing him,
I am, because he impressed me the one or two times I've seen him play, especially in pre-season. So you're looking at a bit of balance there. Centre half wise, I think it's more. I think you get a balance, but it'll be more a decision to be made on maybe one or two of them. And the right back thing for me gives me shivers, because if we're going to do an Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain at right back, I'm fucking going to have a meltdown. I'd much rather Milner there. So does he bring somebody in there? So overall, when you think we've brought one in, we may do Harvey Elliott, a couple may leave, and we don't feel like they're going to make a huge difference to us. I think overall the squad looks quite balanced, but I think he has to make a decision on a couple of things. And I just wanted to see what people thought with regards, forget, I want this player and I want that player. If he just brings in a right back for cover, a midfielder, and a forward, I think we're quite balanced. That's my opinion, but I wanted to see what you thought.
And beyond that, I think let's start on, I think, the obvious areas of concern that most Pool fans would have, and I'll say centre midfield, right back, I think is fair. I disagree. I think there's this childish want to have a flashy new striker this year. No, we got one last year. I don't think it's an essential need, but I think the two areas that call out that we need something is right back and centre mid. For you, is the answer on right back actually already in the squad, in that he sees Joe Gomez as the potential backup to Trent when he needs to give Trent a rest?
Yeah, you took the words out of my mouth there. Liverpool never go into a season where everybody's fully confident of the depth and the options. You know what? We always have this idea that we should have two players for each position, but Klopp seems to do it a different way, where he just leaves us shy. Now, I don't know whether that's because he's not being backed by the owners, or whether he just likes to keep a small squad where he can keep everyone motivated, and he doesn't like to have this idea where he has to share so many players with games. There's no way when you have players like Van Dijk, Trent, Robertson, that you're going to be able to give these fellas enough games to keep them happy at the club. So he always does kind of leave it short and look at a few players who can play multiple positions. So I'm not sure we're going to see a right back come in. I honestly don't. I would like to see us buy another centre back, because you just can't depend on Gomez and Matip, especially after what happened to them last season. And so that's my main area of concern. I think maybe a centre back that could possibly cover right back as well, if possible. And then in centre midfield, you don't let a player like Wijnaldum go without trying to replace him some way. Look, I know Thiago's probably his replacement last year, but I still think we're very short in midfield, of absolute quality midfield when you lose Wijnaldum, unless there's any chance he's going to change shape this season. We'll know in pre-season if he starts experimenting. Up front, I'm sure we're going to see Jota play probably the majority of games through the middle, as opposed to Bobby. And then whether Harvey Elliott stays on or he goes for another attacker. But I think there's probably 3 players needed to achieve that balance that Gav's alluding to there.
Shane, one of the things that people are missing out when we're discussing signings is the fact that we can only have 17 what's deemed to be overseas or non-British players in the squad this year because of Brexit, right? By re-signing Adrian, we must be confident of getting some of those players that we're talking about, the deadwood, out of the squad. Because if you look at who we have at the moment, obviously you've got our goalkeeper is Brazilian. Van Dijk, Konate are again take up. That's 3 into the 17. We have Matip, that's 4 into the 17. Tsimikas is 5. Then you go into midfield and you're looking at Keita, you're looking at Fabinho, you're looking at Thiago. In terms of that's another, that you're up to 8 now. But then we go Mane, Salah,
4 up front, yeah.
Bobby. That takes us up to 12, and we haven't got onto the lads who we that have filled up the positions on the bench. So we're really relying either on bringing UK British players in, or moving some of the players out that are already our sort of foreign quota to replace them with different ones coming in. Now, I think Gav is right. I think we'd only get 2 in, essentially. But is there a concern for you that if we're talking about quality, that we might have to lose something out of the squad that we haven't thought of at this stage?
No, I wouldn't be worried about losing someone out of the squad. Maybe that was more an economic transfer rather than one that the manager or Edwards wanted. I would say probably you're going to see this summer. We'll probably see the back of Origi and Shaqiri. I think, which would be 2 of them numbers that, like you mentioned there, to go out of the squad. I think James Pearce alluded to it a couple of weeks ago. I think they see more outgoings at the minute before incumbents come in. I don't mean that as like a sell to buy or anything like that. I think they're actively now trying to get some deadwood out of the squad, trying to move them players on. I think that's an active. They had that young kid go to Basel. Like Gav mentioned, Origi, there's meant to be a bid in from Mönchengladbach. Shaqiri's getting linked away.
The Portuguese newspaper Ebola says that Grujic fee is being agreed now as well. So,
so listen, there's another one. So I'd imagine they're probably looking to kind of trim the squad, see what they can get rid of, and then move it. And then move in a couple. I think it'll only be 2 in as well. I don't think we will sign on our centre back unless someone comes in with maybe 15 million bid for Phillips, a Burnley or someone like that, and the club say, listen, that's economically wise, that's too good to turn down. I think then we'd probably move to get someone in. I think he's all right. I think Trent's cover I can see being actually Konate as well as Gomez. Konate can play fullback. I think he has done for Leipzig. I think so. Klopp might see it as a sharing thing between the 2 of them if needed. But yeah, look, the thing about squad depth is it's all well and good having that squad depth and everything like that. But as soon as Klopp makes a couple of changes to try and rest lads, and we drop points. There's fucking murder, and due to the way the seasons have been the last couple of years, not last year, but the 2 previous seasons, like one loss and you were nearly done for, or dropping 4 points or 5 points in a month, and you were nearly over with the standard that ourselves and City had set. So, like, having a good squad is very important. Obviously, when injuries hit, but Klopp has shown that he likes his tried and tested, and he likes keeping his 11 fairly tight. You know what I mean? He doesn't tend to rest a whole lot, but. Yeah, look, I think the squad is fairly balanced, but there'll be some to go. I think Minamino will go as well, and I think we're going to see a few more outgoings this summer. Then I think it'll be trimmed up, and the squad will be made a little bit tighter.
Man, don't forget, a lot of this was to happen last year, but it just wasn't possible.
I'd be amazed if we don't sign a forward player. Amazed, like. When you look, and people are saying, the African nations and someone else, well, it's only actually, the African nations only probably covers about 3 Premier League games, because the FA Cup weekend, or maybe 2 of the FA Cup weekends are in January at the start and end. But I'd be absolutely amazed, because Jota, Mane, Salah, Firmino, like, a lot of people question the impact that Firmino's having. You seen Mane last season, but it's a clean slate going into a new one. You can't, at some stage you're going to miss Salah through an injury, or he's going to have a loss of form, or whatever it might be. Jota had an injury and come back and went to Euros. I'd be absolutely amazed if, like, Origi leaves for me. I think Minamino, I think you're right, Davo, I think he goes as well. And I think Shaqiri goes. And I think there are 3 kind of attacking options. A lot of people see Shaqiri as, although he's a midfielder, he's not. He's an attacking option. And I think if we were to get rid of those 3, that's 3 off the list of players that aren't homegrown or whatever it might be. I can't see him keeping just the 4 lads up front and say a Harvey Elliott.
I think we'll get one in as well, Gav. I think it'd be a midfielder and a centre forward, and someone who can play across the front. I would say would be the next 2 in. Like I said, I
think it's someone for the future, because
he sees Ox as someone that can play out there as well. But.
Do you see Ox?
He's the only one that can see.
No, I don't. But what is Ox now? If that's not what he is, because
he's a right back
target. He's a transfer target for West Ham.
Yeah.
Like that's what Oxlade-Chamberlain is. He's a West Ham player. He's that type of player that it never quite worked out for, and seems to be a lovely bloke, but is crippled by injuries and has been crippled by injuries throughout his whole career. And that hasn't changed at Liverpool. It was the exact same.
I think you're right. I think it's the last time we'll be able to get rid of him, to be honest.
Yeah. Some Owen Conway there says talk about Saul Niguez. I don't think the lads talked about him. I haven't personally seen enough of him to talk about him, right? And you definitely didn't see much of him last year, because he wasn't getting a game at Atletico Madrid last year. So you can't pretend that you knew what he was about last year. But from what the lads were saying, and I
used to watch a lot of Atletico B. They were even better than the main team.
The Atletico Austrian Madrid League. When they played.
He was on loan with Wacker Innsbruck.
He was, yeah. Very good against Gitzer Atletico. But what Shawnee said. And Johnny's just making stuff up, so we'll just all believe him anyway, because that's what people generally do with these things. But what Grizz was told by somebody in a DM, that he seems to be a very robust player, and this is what we're talking about. We need somebody who's. He
said he's missed 17 games in fucking 8 years or 6 years or something like that.
Yeah, so if his main ability is reliability, and he is an 80% effective Wijnaldum, like, we'd be all over it. Now, from what I think what you did say, what you said there is fair. I think Keita said that he's probably even better than Wijnaldum in terms of being that midfield sort of cog. Is a cog the right word? It's not like the most. He's not the most amazing, like, in terms. He's not going to score loads of goals. Maybe not do loads of assists, but he just keeps that midfield functioning as best as you possibly can. So, seems to be a great option. I know we were linked with Renato Sanchez. Again, that's just fucking tournament talk. It drives me mental when you see all the stuff that goes on. And then looking at it, like, in reality, lads, we have Curtis Jones there. There was a lot of hype about Curtis Jones. He played about 33% of the season last year. He looked to have something about him. And to be fair, the group of young English players that's coming through, he looks to be another talent. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean he translates to being a good first-team player, but he's definitely worth a go in that midfield because
I think he was very unfortunate last season.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I don't think anyone's seen it as his breakout season last season. You know, a couple of years ago, I didn't think he'd ever make it at Liverpool. But when you look at last season, it would have been perfect for him if we were full strength and he was able to be dropped in. Not so much started and relied upon, but dropped in and progressed. And then you look at this season, you go, right, you should be looking for a spot in the team. But there was a lot put on him last season, Phil. Phil, injuries and everything else we had, and the loss of form. And this is a young guy. Young expectations are even higher because he's a local fella. And I just thought it was unfortunate. I hope he just doesn't kind of get lost now. Curtis Jones, because you have Fabinho, you have Henderson, you have Thiago, and if we bring in another midfielder, I wouldn't like to see Curtis Jones lost, you know, and that'd be my fear for him.
No, I don't think he will, Gav. And look, to be fair, it was a bit of a sour season for us, you know, coming off winning the league and no fans in the ground. I'm sure Curtis would have felt that more than anyone. Normally, a youngster, local youngster, is going to feed off that. It's going to improve him as a player. It's going to give him the confidence. And look, like you say, to have him coming into the team when we had to play him and to rely on him, like that pressure, you know, in a season when nobody was doing anything. Like, I mean, even, you know, our front three weren't performing, even to feed them, you know, there wasn't much happening. I think it's going to be a good season for Jones.
I hope so. I really do.
There's somebody in the NBA is just...
He's playing Football Manager, Phil.
He just has names and random numbers.
I think what he's doing is he's listing players that Liverpool should be looking at and their prices. But
where's he getting the prices?
Where's he getting the prices from?
Did he go into Amazon.co.uk transfer price list?
Copy and paste job there. How do you even type all that out?
You never know. He could book in an office
with fingers.
Yeah, man. Sure. Look, he's naming someone that's gone to Atletico tonight.
Rodrigo de Paul.
Rodrigo de Paul.
Vincent de Paul.
Vincent de
Paul. Look, he's just all mad numbers. Just random. Keep going. You can stick all the names and we'll remember these and we can shout about Grizz and Grizz to be putting them out as tier 1 rumours there in the next couple of days. So
this is when you go on to that transfer website and just type in the name of a player, similar players and then their prices. That's a copy and paste job.
Arno Norden is a €10 bottle of wine in Tesco. We can talk about that in a while, right? It's a French bottle, it's a Bordeaux, it's not great. It pretends it's 20 quid, but it's not. It's always on sale for 10 quid.
There's even characters coming up there that aren't even on your keyboard, so he's messing.
He's messing this up. That's not real. Right, NBA is Grizz. That's a great shout, Red Steve. That probably is Grizz there. He's just throwing loads of names to see.
Red Steve's concerned. He says last week it was bright at this time out of Andy's Velux windows. The nights are running in. Andy's trying to get loads of windows in again. He's something else, isn't he?
How many windows can he get in?
Just rearrange the furniture. This is just coincidence. The table was down that end before. Now it's up this end, and the sofa was up this end, so it's all different.
Yeah, look at all the windows. It's unbelievable. The nights are drawing in, and it will soon.
Nights are drawing in, and on the back of that squad,
loads more windows over there.
He's still going. He's still going. He's naming random lads here. This is great. Higuain now will turn up there, and Semedo.
He's naming more names than I have windows.
That's some going.
Still going. That's an impressive buck. To be fair,
I've got more windows up there.
Look, Andy, why do you have a propeller at the top of your house?
Just to keep the sunroom cool.
What?
Keep the sunroom nice and cool.
You live in Ireland.
Yeah, but it gets very warm in here.
It does, yeah. Well,
they're special windows. They're
it does.
It gets
notions windows
and the radiators.
It's so notions.
I'm telling you now, behind them. That's very necessary.
Come back down. The blinds behind you. Look, he got a ruler out today. He did and made sure he were back on.
He was over there with a spirit level.
Straight edge.
Brendan, you do that one, and I'll do this one. I can hold it like this when we're both doing.
Measure the fucking thing. Look, even the one on the door. Even the one on the door is bang on.
Is it? I mean, the lights out the back are showing as well. Look, you see them?
Yeah.
Did you wear them yourself?
I did, yeah.
Did you electrocute yourself?
No.
Well, it's not fun if you don't electrocute yourself. I always like that little sort of. to keep you going, just to make sure you're still awake.
Spice of life.
It is, yeah. It wakes you up. Right, where are we going to next? Andy, you want to say something before I get into a topic that's close to my heart, which is taking the piss out of the English. So come on. Go on.
Yeah, my topic. Where's the screen gone now?
But we're not really doing your topic until after I've taken the piss out of the English. Come on. But you do your bit now. No, because honestly, I want to just I just want to have a serious.
It makes no sense if we do your topic.
Right, you do yours.
Okay. No, it's just because there's been a lot of talk of late about why you can't support the English team and all about their fans and all the ball things and all that to be doing during the week and last night. So rather than take cheap shots, and I just want to talk about why the Irish supported Italy last night. That it wasn't just because we don't like the English fans, although it really was. But this is the reasons why we like Italy. So you ready?
No, I wanted to do this at the end.
Are you actually going to list a load of good things about Italy?
Yeah,
from football.
I want to do this at the end. I want to do this at the end because it's going to be a nice way to finish off, because we can talk about all the nice things about Italy, and Italy is like one of our best friends. Like we've been mates with Italy for years, right?
No,
so
we
I think
haven't. We've hated them ever since Scalacci.
So are we gonna do
the Scalacci thing? Is
hated them. My reason number one is how we love Scalacci.
We don't love Scalacci.
Yes, we do.
I done a Smiddix ad for Jesus' sake.
He broke our hearts, and then he came and took our jobs.
Yeah,
like, come on,
come here.
No,
he broke our hearts, right? But somehow or another, we managed to make him a national hero years on.
That's only because
if you were seeing Scalacci in the street,
T-shirt in the van.
No, if you were seeing Scalacci, you'd give him a big hug.
Wouldn't be
you would. You'd be like the Smiddix side. You just say to him, "That's a good goal." That's all you say to him.
Davo, right? You're having a point, right? In a hands at the lads, and in walks Scalacci.
Yeah,
the whole place is buying him Gargle for the night.
Except Fats, he wouldn't buy him a drink.
Right, so
Joe was, because that's not his logo.
I want to come back to the. I won't labour too much on the England point, right? And I'll even go into a rant. So you can join in if you want, but you won't, right?
Okay, so go on. You rant away.
Can I go for the smoke?
No, you can go for smoke if you want.
No,
I just wanted to when I heard that Liverpool erupted into fireworks after Italy won the European Championships last night, that actually struck a massive chord in my heart, being a Liverpool fan, and seeing how much the Liverpool fans, true Liverpool people, hate the English as much as the Irish do, right? And it's not because
they're all Irish.
Exactly, they're all half Irish, right? So let's be honest about it. But it's also because of the way they're going. But Liverpool is truly an international city. Like, you hear that London's an international city and Manchester's an international city, but they aren't. Liverpool is truly an international city, built on immigration and
London
immigrants
is
over the years.
Absolutely an international city.
I completely agree with you. But the problem with London is, and I'll get onto it in a second, because it feeds off where the mentality of English fans come from, right? And there's a key difference. The Liverpool fans celebrated the result for Italy last night because they don't recognise and they don't see anything in the English supporters and the England team. Now, not this England team is slightly different, but traditionally in English teams, that represents anything about them. Okay, so that's why they're happy to call themselves Scouts, not English, and not see themselves as English people. That's where the jubilation comes from seeing. Essentially, it's not even so much about the team; it's about the scumbags that represent these people on the television on nearly every time there's a match on. So there was a couple of great articles written today, but the mad thing about this is we've seen all this racism stuff today that's taken up all the column inches because of what happens after the game. But the only story that was there yesterday was the destruction that went on in London before the match. The fact that they couldn't control their own fans before a game when it comes to a major European final, when they're trying to also bid for the 2030 World Cup. And in my opinion, that was buried by the press in England, because they know that if the focus on a tournament is what happened with the fans of their own nation that they're hosting the final gets out there, they know that the chances of getting a World Cup is slim to none. They already had an issue with the Danish fans. They've been fined for that, and this is going to lead to a big investigation. But there was a very interesting thread that's out there, and it also stems back to something. I read a book called Scum Airways. Must have been back in early the noughties. I pulled it out last night after the match just to skim through it again. And it's the mentality of the fans that was seen yesterday. They stormed. They wanted to come and storm and take over their own stadium. And it doesn't make any sense. But that's how they support the team. Everything is about coming and their chance, come and have a go, no surrender. Everything is all about getting in the face of the opposition's fans. It's not about supporting their team. It's about trying to elicit a response. And when there was no other fans there to do it, they were doing it against themselves. Everyone has seen the videos that went on last night. Everyone has seen the videos that went on through yesterday. And the question I have is, where was the police? You tell me, lads, where was the police? Because if they really wanted to clamp down on that, they could have. They could have stopped it early.
I was amazed at not only the videos I seen at Wembley last night, but when you see the volume of people there and the actual amount of people that are meant to be looking after them was unbelievable. I seen barriers being broken down and 6 and 7 stewards standing there, 4 or 5 stewards trying to hold open or push close the door with hundreds of fellas trying to get in. Look, yeah, I agree with you. I think the media will try bury it a little bit because of the World Cup bid. But at the same time, there was 66,000 people going to that game last night. And the 66,000 that would have went, if everything was even, I think there wouldn't have been an issue. I don't know how many people ended up on the ground. It looked more or less full to me. Wouldn't be far off it. And, you know, it is a minority of people. It genuinely is. And as I would say, no, England are doing it years. They are doing it years. But you have to remember, if you see England fans and you see 1,000 of them going mental, England bring the biggest support of anybody to any tournament. They do. Along with the Dutch, probably the Irish when we get there. And Germans are usually good as well. Italians, yeah, okay. But the English bring a massive amount of people. And it is always, there is a thing there where they get in trouble. But it is a minority. My kind of view on them is, I wouldn't bury it, but I wouldn't give them the oxygen that they're looking for by doing what they're doing. You know, the security around the ground looked appalling last night. And I was surprised the game went ahead. I'm going to be honest with you, because people going into that ground with tickets are checked, searched. You know the usual when you're going into any game, and the way are checked and the COVID stuff. But when you have thousands of people flooding in, or look like to me thousands of people getting in, they haven't been checked. They haven't been scanned. They haven't gone through security. Anything could have happened there last night, Phil. And look, we've seen it. We've seen it in Paris, where they tried to get into the Stade de France on that night in Paris when all hell broke loose. That could have happened there last night. And forget the fans for a minute. The security would put serious jeopardy around any bid by England to get any tournament. Even mind the tournament, a Champions League final, Europa League final, anything that Wembley has to do with, because last night that looked absolutely appalling. And Free World says poor stewards are on about £9 an hour left to deal with that. That's it. You know, if that's a European final, you want a ring of police and security around that ground. Yeah. Regardless, at 66, prepare for 100, because everyone kind of knew England was on a mad one all week. And what happened? I seen 6 and 7 stewards, 500 and 600 people. You're never going to hold them back. And for £9 an hour, you're not going to make much of an effort to either. Not only for that, for your safety.
It's not even your job at that.
No, your job is to direct people.
Crowd control. You know, in a sort of a an agreeable manner. You know, not fucking. There's one fella throwing kicks at lads. Like, he's just taking it upon himself to have a bit of fun and throw kicks at people coming in. But he potentially could have been killed.
Yeah, it's, for me, Phil, like, you're always going to get it. It's just, it happens with England. It does. There's no denying that. But I think when you look at the amount of people, and the reports coming out of the ground last night is that there were so many horrified England fans in that ground last night, because they were near wheelchair areas, they were near family sections, and their seats were being taken. There was people throwing stuff. There was also a lot of afraid people there last night. They were English, when you look at it, there might have been 55,000 English and 10,000 Italian. The vast majority of that ground went there for a peaceful game, and some idiots took it upon themselves that they're going to get into that ground regardless.
But Gav, the problem I have when people, and I say this all the time, I'm sick of this small minority, because it's not. It's thousands. It's thousands of them, and there's thousands. You look at what was going on yesterday. and they glorify an aggressive way of supporting. And that's where Liverpool fans struggle to ever identify themselves. And I'm talking about English Liverpool fans ever struggle to identify being part of that at this point in time. We had a stigma attached to us because of what happened in Heysel, right? And Liverpool fans have spent the last 30 odd years going to European away matches and looking to prove that they go to enjoy themselves and they aren't there to cause trouble. And the overwhelming thing, I go back to the same amount of fans between Liverpool and Spurs fans went to Madrid, and there wasn't anything like we saw going on with the England supporters, with the City supporters and the Chelsea supporters in this year's beheaded this year's Champions League final. We have adopted a different way. As Liverpool fans, we have adopted a different way of supporting our team when we go abroad, right? I don't know about the United fans when they go abroad, so I can't say, but you rarely hear of United fans as well having this aggressive way of coming to take over your patch and cause trouble and proving that you're the heads that are there. But that's the way the England fans, a vast majority of England fans that go to these games and travel them around do it, and that's where the trouble emanates from all the time. And
the Leicester fans when they got away, Phil.
The what?
The Leicester fans when they were in the Champions League to carry on out of them.
Were they the same?
Yeah, practically
I didn't like Andy. I don't follow teams outside of ourselves in terms of what their fans are like away from home.
I think that it's been, I've seen this kind of over the years from different journalists and whatnot, and it's like when England go away and they travel to these tournaments that cause them trouble, everything like that. But when you see them in the crowd, the flags that they have, it's all like Aldershot Town, Nuneaton, Borough, fucking blah blah blah. It's all lower league. That like this is the one big thing. They don't like. There's no flags there hanging saying Liverpool or Manchester United or Aston Villa maybe, or do you know what I mean? It's all lower league, smaller teams, fans that go away, and you was following England as their big one because obviously they're not going to get to travel around Europe with that club the way the bigger clubs do. So that's kind of what you tend to see. A lot of time journalists will say, listen, there isn't a lot of fans here from the bigger clubs. It's these smaller clubs the fans use England as, and that brings obviously the hooligan element or whatever you want to call it with them as well. Do you know what I mean?
I like Michael Ramsey. What rubbish about where the police majority European are racist? Stop lying about the minority. Like, that's a super chat. Make of it what you think.
I don't know why racism is brought into that in any way.
I'm not talking about racism.
No, that's what I'm saying. Well, racism hasn't been brought up. It's behaviour, regardless of who you are. It's behaviour. And
I don't want to.
I'm not defending England fans in any way. You know, I think the point you've all made is very, very valid. And you're right in what you're saying. Liverpool fans have a way about them, and United fans. You know, Liverpool and United don't like each other, but they're fucking extremely similar when you actually drill down into it. And they have got a way about them and a way of doing things. And not only that, Liverpool fans look at England as London-based, and it's all about London, and it's all about this. And you see what the authorities have done to Liverpool fans and things over the years. But, like, I get where Liverpool fans are coming from. And to be honest with you, if I was living in Liverpool or was English, I wouldn't really have an interest with them. I'm a bit like the same with Ireland, because international football isn't huge to me. But it's nothing to do with racism. It's nothing to do with racism. It's about behaviour. And you do have to ask the question about security. You do have to ask the question about police. But most of all, you have to ask the question of, how do England get away from this? Because the big thing for me is that it keeps happening, and they don't seem to do anything. They tried it in '98. You remember when they took the passport to people because England were due in, I think it was '98. And then again in 2000, wasn't it the Euros were in France, and they took passports off people, so they couldn't travel to France because England were meant to be in Marseille and it was going to be killings. And
they put them on a fucking island in Italia 90, as Phil fucking knows, because
I was there.
They put them on an island. They said, England, your 3 matches are in fucking Sardinia. You stay there, you cunts.
You're not allowed into mainland Italy. You have to stay in an island, right, where the only way in and out was a plane or a boat, right? They couldn't get out to Sicily. It was just basically, that's where you were playing the games. And all the teams in the group went to Sardinia, went to Cagliari, played the games there, and then went back to Italy, where they met up with the rest of the teams and the fans and had the crack, right? Like this is, I think there needs to be a come to Jesus moment somewhere in the hierarchy. When they let your man that Muppet go on television, do you remember the fella who basically looked like they pulled him in off Main Streets and he came straight out of an EDL or a National Front thing to start giving out about the knee and stuff on Sky Sports, and they allow people like him to be a voice of the English fans. That's
he's designated. He's an official capacity.
Yeah, that's where it needs to change. They need to be told, you're not welcome. You don't represent us anymore. And when they figure out who they are, because they've got cameras all over the stadiums and they're able to kick fellas out for being racist in stadiums, and they're able to kick them out for throwing stuff. They're able to kick them out for if somebody stands up and stuff like that. Start removing these people. Start saying you're not wanted. Either you change your ways. Like the glorification of, and I know it can sound hypocritical and stuff, but the glorification of the stuff that went on outside the stadium, and you're seeing people sending videos around. Those videos were only being sent around because they were being sent to their mates saying, "Look how much crack this is." Like sticking a flare up your arse and hanging a fella upside down to have a flare come out of his arse and go off. That's like you're somewhere that was sent originally by one of his mates who thought it was hilarious. You see the fella who falls off the top of a red telephone box and breaks his ankle, and he's sitting there and he's doing drugs. And you're just there going, this is mad. This is mad. This is glorifying this stupid behaviour, right? Everyone's been part of malarkey and everyone's been part of crack and all that type of stuff. But when it gets to that endemic level, it's never going to be a safe atmosphere for anyone going to the game. And I'll go back to the primary thing that we as a fan group have learned. And we have said so many times and so many times and so many times and so many times, everyone should go to a match and get home safely, right? It's the primary thing that goes on. And if you're incapable of looking after yourself, in the same way a policeman can arrest you for being drunk and disorderly because you're a danger to yourself or to the public, the lack of policing there, it comes back. We talk about, when we've talked about the Hillsborough and we've had stuff and people on, the lack of policing again that goes on. There is so much stuff that needed to happen yesterday that was brushed under the carpet because they didn't want to make a scene. There's a political part of this that they didn't want to make a scene before this size of this game, because that would have been headline news. The only story, it wouldn't have been the match that happened last night. It would have been the fact that the English police had to turn on their own fans to stop something dangerous from happening. And I Gav, something that you said, that match should have been delayed because of the behaviour that was going on.
It's not even the behaviour, it's the security element of it. It's the world we live in now. You know, like if I walk into an airport, okay, and I walk through a door that I shouldn't walk through, they'll shut the airport down. They will shut the fucking airport down, I'm telling you. You know, and in football, if United Bournemouth at the last day of the season, the season before last, a suspect package, they stopped the game. The game wasn't going ahead. It was delayed because of suspect. It turns out someone just left the bag there, right? It was nothing in it. But this is what I'm saying. But this is thousands. This is thousands of people going through a ground. You don't know what they have on them. You just don't. Michael says it's all about race. Only black people got hurt last night and abuse. Here's of one guy throwing in a river. Come on, there's loads of people got hurt last night, and they were stewards and they were of all different races and creeds. So I don't know where that's coming from. But again, the big thing that comes out of me is there's so many, and this is the truth, there's so many genuine English fans, right? Because there's no way even close to a majority go away and do what you see on the streets are being done. There's so many English fans travel all over the place. I'm sure that, you know, the majority of them go away and they think, "What these fuck? Where are we going for a drink that they won't be going to?" And that should be the biggest question in it all. The English FA and travel partners or whatever it might be with the FA need to be saying, "Lads, this has to stop because it's going to affect the FA. It's going to affect any chance we have of hosting stuff from now on. And not only that, we will end up with innocent English fans that could be innocent bystanders getting hurt. And they've travelled with England for years and they've never done a thing wrong, and they could be in the wrong place at the wrong place when this kicks off. And they have to do something to stop it, because the safety of their own fans, the genuine ones, has to be their absolute priority.
I just want to finish on one thing on it, and I think it is to hear of kids and families bringing their kids to their match, hoping that they'd win the European Championships, and those kids having to sit on steps and stairs because some 40 or 50-year-old goon and his 20 and 25-year-old lackeys have crashed the stadium and taken the seats and refused to move. Like, that to me just spoke volumes. And I think it was I can't. I'll try to find the thread later on, and I'll retweet it. But the fact that, again, it's this old group that are leading a younger group. There's a gap. You have these 40 to 50-year-old old firm heads that stem from the 80s hooligans who still continue to go to the England matches, and you see them. You see them all, the Ross Kemp lookalikes that are there, right? And you're there going, what the hell is your man doing? He's a geriatric. Like, he's got, like, if he falls over, he could have a heart attack. And then you can see the younger fellas. Now, whether there are kids that are now coming along with them and they've grown up with the same sort of idea as to what it is, that's the cycle that needs to be broken. That's the element that needs to be removed. And if they do that, the English fans can quickly turn the opinion of the rest of the world in terms of what they expect when it comes to major tournaments. Because I would prefer to have, when the Irish go away and we get with the Scottish lads, it's the maddest crack you're ever going to have, right? I've been away in Ireland games and it's been insane in terms of the stuff you do with the local lads. Like Andy, we'll talk about the Italian, how much we love Italian, but like, that was the first World Cup I went to, and you're able to mix with any race and nation and all that type of stuff, and it was just mad. And from what was a very closeted country in terms of Ireland at that stage, it was amazing to see how even at that stage the way we supported was welcomed. And I've seen it with the Scottish fans when they've come to Ireland, and it's like, it's just gas crack. We just have, you're able to go to the ground, you can stand beside them, you can get with them, you can do whatever you want, and you can mix with them, and nobody is getting upset. You know what I mean? We're just there, and we'll take the piss out of each other, and it's taken that way. Like, that is where they need to get to, and that's, I hope someday to see it, because it will be great to have. I was in Lansdowne Road in '94 when it essentially was a section of the National Front came over and wrecked Lansdowne Road, and 95, sorry, in 95, wrecked Lansdowne Road and got the game abandoned. And again, you look at those lads that were there are the lads who were in London causing the shite last night, who've caused the crap all the way along. And it just needs to be removed. The FA need to find a way to remove these people. Before you get into bigger things and bigger societal issues, they're the ones that you can control. You can know who they are, kick them out. That's all I'm going to say. Kick them out. Andy, liven us up. The best things about Italy.
Can't wait for this.
Oh dear.
Well,
anyway, look, my first reason, and look, Phil, as you were saying there, how we kind of were quite light-hearted when it comes to rivalries, you know, probably stems from the GAA as well. Like, there's no segregation when you go to watch Gaelic football matches or hurling matches, and people are in the pubs together, no hassle. People are in the grounds together, no hassle. But anyway, Salvador Toto Schillaci, the Italian who broke our hearts in Italian 90, somehow we made a national hero. And Gav doesn't agree. Look, I know if Schillaci set up camp now in Ireland, moved to Ireland, he'd be walking around the place like a champion.
Do you know what? If Schillaci, I know where you're coming from. I'd say if Schillaci came here, he rang home after 2 weeks, he would be asking his family, what did he mean by when they say your son bollocks? Because in Ireland, when you say your son bollocks, it just means, you're all right. You know, the sort of way. But I wouldn't be buying them points in their hands. Not a chance.
Yeah. Anyway, I think you would. The chipper.
Right.
The Italian chipper.
Yeah.
Giuseppe Servi, who sometime in the 1880s mistakenly got off in America.
Where are you reading this from?
Oh, no, I'm not. This is all. I knew all this. This is real. This happened.
Okay.
But he mistakenly got off a boat that was supposed to go to America, and he got off the boat in Queenstown and Cove in County Cork, for anyone who's not from Ireland watching. And he walked all the way to Dublin, and he eventually started a fish and chip shop. And he even made the mistake that he was the other mistake, apart from getting off the boat at the wrong stop, he was frying chestnuts when he started frying potatoes. And that's how we got fried chips. That's serious. But anyway, look, those two mistakes bring me on to reason for.
How did he come up with better burgers then?
I don't know. Worley burgers.
What was reason 3?
Well, what's reason 3, come on?
You said that brings me on to number 4.
Oh, sorry, reason 3. I thought I discussed 2. Well, okay, I'll come up with it on the national anthem's whopper. Anyway.
That's reason 3. That's good enough for me.
Yeah, right. Reason 4, speaking of mistakes, we all know someone, right, whose ma or grandma or great grandma mistakenly got knocked up by an Italian sailor, or at least an Italian. Yeah.
Do we?
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe not out on the north side where there's no harbours, but look, at least we know someone who they said they were a sailor. So I think Italian blood is in all of us Irish DNA. And the reason 5, Italian food, carbs and more carbs. In the same way we potatoes often and more often not, but multiple types of potatoes in our meals. The Italians eat spaghetti, ravioli, and gnocchi all at once. So Andy loved that bread too. And legend even says that old Mr. Brennan, when he was making his first loaf of bread, made a complete fugazi of it, and that's where they got the batch loaf. So,
oh my God.
That's true.
An absolute mad one.
Andy, this is absolutely fucking mental.
That's true. That's how batch began. He was.
Do you know what this is like? In the game shows where they go, right, Andy's going to tell you a story here, and you have to decide if it's true or false. Because 8 out of 10 cats or something does this, and I'm here going, this is a fucking spoof. He walked all the way to Dublin, and instead of frying chestnuts, he ended up with chips. Stop it.
And that's why we end up with look. You've never tasted their chips with chipper. How did they do that? Does anyone know? You can't do that at home. You can't replicate chipper chips at home, and you can't when you go over to England and you go onto one of their chippies. You can't get chipper chips over there. They're not the same. What did he be doing? You're a bit Italian, Phil.
It's a different oil, Andy.
That's not the reason. There must be something else.
It's like why you can't get decent Guinness outside of Ireland and Nigeria. It's whatever the minerals in the soil in the two countries are very similar, right? And that's what drives the similar taste. So Nigeria makes as good a Guinness as Ireland does, and that's the only two places you should drink Guinness. Anywhere else in the world, it's just a load of shit, right? So basically, it's the oil that we have here. It's the that's basically what it is. It's just the oil that we have in Ireland. We make it here.
Should we contact the
also the potatoes,
Italian traditional Irish Chippers Association or whatever they call themselves?
We should ring them right now.
There should have been free fucking.
If this was the old days up in the bunker, we would have got Andy to pick up the phone and ring the Irish Italian Chippers Association and ask them to.
I'm going to get onto them. I'm going to get onto them and ask them, can they come on and tell us what the crack is? How do you make chipper chips? Ant Wango was asking, and a few have asked, what the fuck is chipper chips? Here. Chipper chips are different. Chipper chips are different to like your normal chips at home. They're amazing.
Okay, we better try to explain. So if you've ever watched the Eddie Murphy sketch about welfare burgers, right? Essentially, chipper chips in Ireland, you'd go to the chipper, right? So I think in England they call it, is it the chippy in England they call it?
Chippies.
Yeah, because they can't talk properly. So it's the chipper, right? So you go to the chipper and you get chips in the chipper, right? And they put like salt and vinegar in top. Now the trick is the vinegar is lovely, but it only ever gets to the top of the chips, and it's the same with the salt. You have like loads of salt at the top of the chips, and then none down the bottom. So you always want to take the top.
No, that's how you're not in a good chipper.
You got.
It's the way they shake it. It's the way they shake the bag. It's an Italian shake.
A mate of mine goes to chipper, asks for a bag of chips, right? And then he loves the salt and vinegar, and he says salt and vinegar. Yeah, just put a bit on. And what he does is when he hands him the bag, he opens the bag and he uses the salt and vinegar himself, and then says, "Give us another bag," and puts them in and walks home with them. So he's getting the double lot.
Veranda cheese normally comes in with some type of sexual reference, but he makes a good point there.
Give him a minute.
No, we'll get one. There's no Italian chippers in England. That's actually probably
That's because he got off in Cork and he walked all the way to Dublin.
He got off in Cork. If he landed in England, he'd be all talking about Italian chippers. So Italian chippers, Andy, that's super. Can I give you one?
No, let me just finish off because our relationship with the Italians goes way back.
Oh my God, he's got to Googling this. This is brilliant.
Here.
No, 1608, the Irish Earls O'Neill and O'Donnell arrived in Rome to seek help from the Pope Paul V, I believe he was.
On July 12th. On July 12th, the massive Orange Day, are you going to start talking about the Pope on the YouTube?
Well, look, the Pope back then was spot on. And after the O'Neills and the O'Donnells were forced out of Ireland by the British, they went to seek help from the Pope, and he looked after them big time. And they lived over there happily ever after, and they were buried in a church, the Church of San Pietro in Montorio, which indicates which indicates, right? Shut the fuck up for a second. It indicates the high esteem the Italians had for these Gaelic chieftains. So the Italians loved us first, and now we are all Italian men, and we love Italy. And we didn't even need all of those reasons that Phil was listing off there for hating English and not wanting them to win. We're practically Italian here in Ireland.
Jer Cahill, Leo Burdock was over in Italy. There's an interest. Jer Burdock, Leo Burdock was with me in Italia 90 with his good lady wife, and she used to sing a fantastic rendition of Summer Lovin' and The Living Is Easy, and she sang that to loads of the Italian coppers who swapped their uniforms with the Irish fans that were in the hotel after we played the English that night, and Kevin Sheedy scored the goal. And of course, I've told that story many times. But yeah, and we also drank the Italian sergeant under the table to the point that he collapsed, and he ended up having to come back the next morning fully dressed in an Ireland kit and begging one of the lads from Donegal to give him back his uniform with his hat and everything, right? But yeah, the Italians love us. I'll say I've been to a couple of events in Italy, which I won't go into on this, as well used now. And you've been to some as well, similar events to that. But yeah. I'd say Italy is my favorite country on the planet. I've never been to a country. I've been to Rome. I've been to Florence. Been to Milan. Been to Siena. Lots of places in Tuscany, and it's just spectacular. So when we talk about the wine, is just obviously there's the obvious things, the wines. But one of the best things that I've had in Italy was trying to learn how to eat their dishes, because they don't eat food like we eat food, and this is why Mancini is still in great nick at whatever age he is, right? So they have like the antipasti, which is your starter, and then they have like the primi piatti and the secondi piatti, and they have little aperitivos in between and the whole lot. Now, when your typical Irishman gets there, I want me spaghetti bolognese. Just saying, stereotypical, turn up, we think we're getting the spaghetti bolognese. But the pasta comes in the primi piatti, and then the meat comes in the secondi piatti, right? So it's like, it's the strangest thing, but it's a very good way of eating, because it fills you up as you go along, so you don't eat as much. And that's why there's not too many overweight Italians in comparison. And that, and they smoke 125 cigarettes a minute.
I'm all in. That's all for me. I went to Italy 2 years ago, and the weather was lovely, and did a great water park. I've nothing else to add. I had a great time. That's the only time I've been in Italy.
I've never been, and I would love to go. I was going to go to Venice pre-pandemic, but
yeah, we
landed in the Koibash. But I would, I kind of got back into like Italian football actually in the last couple of years. I read a couple of books. I read John Foot's book about
John Foot. That's a great name, isn't it?
That's a great name for writing a football book. Yeah, John Foot's book on Italian, all things Italian football from the beginning. Yeah, and it was quality. I read an Ultras book as well. That was mad. That was like the Ultras do great work as well over there, as well as being fucking mad. Like they'll like Ultras will commandeer, say, a building that's fucking getting dilapidated, and they'll turn it into social housing and stuff like that. And all they do some great work over there. But yeah, the football is kind of the thing that really attracts me to Italy. I like watching Italian football, and I kind of got back into it in the last couple of years, because obviously it was great back in the day with James Richardson and Gaza and all that and football Italia. But yeah, look, I backed them at the start to win the Euro, so I was obviously delighted that they won it yesterday. But yeah, it was great. It was great.
Any other parts of Italy you want to Italian things you want to recommend? Any like the style, well, their cars, their fast cars. Ferraris, Lamborghinis that are
you're saying like let's recommend a Ferrari as if no one's ever fucking heard of it. You know what I mean?
I'm talking about a Lamborghini.
What about the suits on them, though, lads? What about the suits on them?
If you're into Colosseums, what a fucking place to go! Like, you know what I mean? Like, we all know it's there.
Hang on a second. I've been to the second best Colosseum on the earth, and it's not in Italy. No, it's in Tunisia.
Oh,
no, it's in Tunisia.
Tunisia.
Yeah.
Well, look, this isn't the Tunisia show. This is the Italy show.
So we'll come
And,
back to Tunisia for
Andy
the
will have all the
Nations
facts googled next week for Tunisia.
Italy is great in all seriousness. Davo, you were saying you were planning a trip to Italy and it got postponed. But Sicily, Tuscany, fucking Florence. I got married in Cortona, and no one from Ireland has really been in Cortona apart from the guests from my wedding. But if you walk around,
I know where you got married.
Hills
I was in the resort. I was in the but that's different. That's a different.
How did you get into my resort?
Because there was probably a similar reason.
There was unbelievable.
No, you weren't. We discussed this before I got married. It wasn't the same place.
No, we didn't. That wasn't the same place that we ended up. But I went around viewing loads of places.
See. So
I'll be listening to him. The sort of place he's telling you don't want to go to, but
you should go to. You can fly into Pisa, fly into Rome. It's only north of Rome. Fly into Florence and go south. It's an amazing place, Cortona. When you walk around Cortona, it's just full of Americans. That's a lot of Americans will go there. Amazing, medieval town, incredible. And the views are like across the countryside, bit like Sicily, amazing. Italy is fucking great, and the food is the best food in the world. And what wrecks me head about Italian food though is how it's bastardized so much when you go. Mm-hmm. You know, if you're in England or you're here, even you go for an Italian, it's never an Italian ever. It's pizza or it's like lasagna or bolognese or something. A proper Italian, it's like you say, Phil, spread across the night with plenty of wine. You won't get a better night.
I give my recommendation for if you want to go to Italy, Shane. I'm going to give you a little different place to go to, right? So my cousins are from a place called Cupertino, which is down in the heel of Italy. It's in Puglia, right?
Down in Bardi.
Yeah, just down past Bardi, but it's for a little bit further south than Bardi. So you can fly into Bardi Airport, and it's only a half an hour drive. But instead of going to Cupertino, I'm telling you, the place to go to is a little village on the coast, and it's in this sort of indentation between the heel and the toe, and it's called Porto Cesario, and it has the most incredible sort of beach with these clear blue waters. It's a combination of Mediterranean and Caribbean beauty. It's just the place to go. It's also out of the place. And most Italians go to Puglia on their own holidays because it's nowhere near as expensive as it is to go to the north of Italy. And the flights are also cheaper with Ryanair, so you get them dirt cheap at the moment. So if I'm saying something to you, get on. Remember, the old vaccine passport is out there now. You can fly all over Italy, get a couple of quick tickets down to Bardi, and you'll pick up a place for next to nothing down in Porto Cesario, and you'll have the most amazing time. You get yourself a whole tankard of wine down there for about €3, and it's the most amazing wine you drink. As I said, it's great that Italy took the European trophy home. So it's the only thing I'd say is I'd love to see. It'd be great now if they brought in a rule that whoever wins the Europeans have to host it like the Eurovision. So the only way Italy won it last night, if they won it right, they have to host the next one. So the only way you get to host the tournament is to win the tournament. That would be the best ever.
I think it's been I think it's a great idea. Like, the Eurovision concept is good and people can host. I think it's been a great show, but I feel sorry for Catherine Thomas because her hopes of getting a job now and back on No Frontiers. I wish you were here or anything like that is fucked. Because Phil and Andy have been around about 4 square miles of Italy and they've told you now exactly where to go, regardless of what you need. Poor Catherine Thomas.
The problem with that Eurovision thing, though, Phil, is remember Ireland kept winning it, and then we had to purposely send someone shite out because we couldn't afford to keep hosting it.
It used to be lethal at that we did.
I don't know what Veranda Cheese is talking about there. I don't remember him having a run in. And just to clarify, that reads like I have multiple wedding organisers, and this is me Italian. That's not the case. This is actually this was just the person who organised my wedding, and I don't remember the for you. So if you can tell the story, Veranda, work away. Don't know what it is.
So at the end of all that, boys,
fuck knows.
After all that. It's great.
No, it just means that we didn't actually follow Italy last night or support Italy through any hatred for our lovely neighbours. There's many nice people that we're friends with in the UK that did support England last night. And we won't name any names, but some of them are Scousers.
Jamie Home.
I don't think Jamie did. Did he?
Jamie
he
has,
did. Yes, he did.
100%.
I know he said that the players were a nice bunch of lads, which they kind of
Jamie went out and bought an England jersey with Rashford, whatever his number is on the back of it, and he has a Harry Kane number 9 one pinned up in the house now. He has in the kitchen. It's going up. We'll see the picture soon. Has a label on it.
But anyway, no, in hard luck to England last night. It was very lucky.
To be honest with you, I was not plus. It didn't bother me who won it. The only thing I think the biggest thing for everyone is not the fact that England could win a football tournament, because let's be honest, our players are players that you watch every week. Do you know, sort of way? Miranda Cheese says it was a Facebook fight. You maybe delete the comments. We will leave it at that. Okay, yeah. You better leave it at that. But
last minute Winners podcast. Can we do next week's show in Germany? Interestingly, I think that's a great idea.
You're not fucking an hour and a half of field tennis about Cologne. Fuck off.
Fucking over in Vinny's bar in Cologne.
Yeah.
I've been in
if Vinny wants to invite us over and put us up and we'll do some shows in his bar, that's no problem.
Gav, I'm working on that.
Okay, good stuff.
Am
I invited?
You are indeed.
That's great. You walk away, so. But no, I don't think it was the football stuff, because like I'd have loved to see Henderson win that tournament. If he had been there, him as well. And there's a couple of English players that aren't Liverpool players I quite like. But it's the media. It's the media that kills them. They blew it up so much, and I think that's where most of it comes from. It's not the actual England winning. It's like, what are we gonna have to fucking listen to, and for how long? We're still going on about the World Cup. Did
you see that? See a man who they were giving out stink about in the press box? The journalist that was dressed in the Italian jersey
from Scotland.
Dressed in the Italian jersey, screaming his head off at the England fans when he won. The English journals going mentlers. Turns out he was the sports journalist for the Daily Record up in Scotland. And he was made leave the press box.
I love that though. That's great.
That's brilliant. I have a lot of respect for that. Of course, now, the decorum shown by the English media would have been amazing, as you can imagine what was going on. The one thing I will say, lads, Vialli, the last thing I'll just note on this, Gianluca Vialli has fought cancer for the last year or so, and seeing him be part of that coaching team and seeing him with the smile on his face, like for a fella who, whenever you've seen him interviewed or you hear stories about him the whole lot, how well people speak of him, how much of a character he seems to be, but also a beloved character of his friends and his teammates and even Italian football in general. It's great to see a guy like Gianluca Vialli. Yeah,
if you want to know a little bit about him, or if you want to just see what he means to people, this is way off tangent, but Tubes from Sky Sports, he has his own golf YouTube channel, and he recently done, I think it was Tubes, and he does it with Gianfranco Zola. And very early in the video, he asked him about Gianluca Vialli, and you can just see the way Zola talks about him. He's actually telling him that he feels better. This is obviously filmed a couple of months ago or whatever. But you can see by even the way Zola's talking about Gianluca Vialli that he is so loved and so respected. Is this what you're gonna do? Yeah. Always, he never fails.
That's it. Right, listen, that has been the forum. I want to thank everyone in the comments tonight. It's been a great laugh, and it's been an enjoyable travel show this week. We started off in Austria. We made our way back to London. I went from London across the plains of Lombardy and down through the Apennines and all the way down to the heel of Italy. And of course, that is Cove alongside the Flight of the Earls. And then
Tunisia.
Went around Tunisia and then came back to the Vatican City in the end to get some help off the Pope. I want to thank everyone for the comments that have been coming in tonight. It's been enjoyable to read them and see the debate that's been going along. I want to, of course, thank Gav, the main man, who organises all the shows and puts it all together, which is fantastic. I want to say a big thanks to Shane. which is on about Shane will be back up now at 3 o'clock in the morning. He's gone off to do loads of things. He's a great lad. Doesn't sleep.
Delivers chippers.
delivering the chips to the Italian chippers. So he can and of course, that is Andy Young, the man who has a list of amazing things about Italy that he came up with himself. He just went and did all the research himself.
I just hope people have learned something tonight. That's all I wanted. That's all I wanted to achieve. That
They learned that you spent a fortune on fucking window cleaners. That's what you learned.
Imagine the window cleaner. Get that blind.
Just perfectly. Want the back of the house done, bud. You have to be in a fucking crew.
And up the top. Right.
Permission to get the windows fucking washed.
That has been the forum. I've been your host, Phil Casey. We've got loads of shows coming along this week. And if you can, spare a euro. Fill out Anfield for Sienna. The link is in the oak. Andy, you've got the t-shirt there, Airmate Sienna, right in terms of what it is. The stuff on the website to go buy. If you can, please do. But it's only cost us. Is a euro or a pound to fill out? We want to get 53,000. 53,000 into Anfield, for a great cause, for a young girl that can have life-changing surgery. And it's only going to cost you €1. Like, honestly, if you have a euro, then you can spare it. Please.
If you have a euro, you spend the euro. If you have €20, bring the family and your cousins and all to Anfield. There's loads of tickets available all together in the COP. First time and the only time you'll ever be able to do that. So,
it's the only time we can get 53,000 into the COP. You can all be in the COP. If you all buy a ticket, it can be everyone's ticket can be a COP ticket, right?
Yeah.
Right behind the goal.
We'll even bring Andy's Italian wedding planner, the French, German, and whatever other country we'll have to work on. But the big thing for the lads is if you have a euro, give it. But the major thing is to spread the word. So if you get that link and you pay a euro, don't stop there. Pick a WhatsApp group, pick a fucking chat in Facebook, whatever it might be, and just throw the link in there. And we're trying to make this rule up that if you get the link, by all means, donate. Means have to spread. You have to keep going. Like COVID, keep fucking spreading the thing, right? And like COVID, and we'll be absolutely fine. If it spreads like COVID, we'll sell this out in no time. I think that's the moral of this story.
Yeah, it could be the best variant, the Sienna variant. Let's get this spread, right? So now 50, how many, whatever it is, we want to sell out Anfield.
53,394.
Can we not do the 61,000 with the Anfield?
We can.
Redeveloped. I think we should.
If we fill it, we'll keep filling it.
Well, exactly. Davo does a bit of plastering, so we can get the 53,394. Davo will knock the Anfield Road end out. Quick
do the breakout and then fucking sort
another 7,000 tickets we put on sale then.
Nobody's going to miss out. We'll organise another game
or another stadium.
Excellent. Yeah, we can get Wembley. We can knock down the security barriers and get everyone.
The only thing is you get into Wembley for free nowadays. You don't need to sell tickets.
Or Goodison you can go to and we'll only charge you half price. 50 cent.
Red Steve says he's buying one for the whole main stand behind the pillar, or he's not buying it at all. So there you go.
Right, look, that has been El Quattro. Buonanotte.
Don't even know.
Are you doing that, Gav?